Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Hey there.
Hello, and welcome back.
Well, I feel like I'm back from a special place in hell, but no,
you loved every minute of it.
I did, actually. I did. What are we talking about?
Well, you know what? We just got back, as we're kind of toying with here, from Big Bragg, bike ride across Georgia. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. Give a little bit of rundown, kind of our perspective on what we did, what we saw. We did manage to track down the ride director and got a few minutes of his time. So got a little excerpt we're going to play of him about how he thought the ride was going. We're also going to revisit a past episode that we recorded back in April. We've kind of got some new info we would like to add on to that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm not going to tell you what the episode is about. You'll just have to wait and see.
Fine.
And then we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about a ride that just finished up here in my neck of the woods.
Oh, is that bike ride across Kansas?
That would be the bike ride across Kansas. You're absolutely correct.
One of these days we got to do that ride. I know you have done it, but I have never been able to do it. So...
I'm trying, but you don't like to leave Eastern time, so it makes it a little difficult.
Can you blame me? I mean, you're always an hour behind.
We are Central time.
Oh, yeah, you're Central. All right. You're essentially late.
Okay, move on. Move on. We're done.
Now, on a serious note, how was your travels home? I mean, flight was okay. After I saw you, you were on standby and you looked a little frustrated, but then I saw you get on the plane. I was like, okay, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Well, the driver, as you know, at the hotel was not in a big hurry to get either us, our bicycles, or the flight crew of our flight to the airport in any bit of a hurry. So he was like almost 20 minutes late. Weirdly enough, he shows up driving a taxi cab, parks it in the front, gets out and goes, "Oh, sorry, it's been one of those mornings," and then waltzes in and gets the keys. And I'm like,
he's moonlighting as a taxi driver.
What are you like, taking cabs between your runs at the hotel? But so he got us there late, and we missed our flight. We didn't miss our flight, but we missed the 30 minutes being there prior.
Yeah.
And so you, of course, were at the gate before I was, and you got on the flight. I had to ride standby. So yeah, I was a little bit frustrated because we were in Augusta, not a big airport, not a lot of flights out. And then it also worried me when the lady at the counter said, "Well, how easy would it be for you to get to Atlanta?"
By driving.
Yeah. And I was thinking, well, it'd be a whole heck of a lot easier if you just put me on a flight. But so that had me concerned that I might have to be driving to Atlanta to get a flight. But, just before they shut the doors, you seen me waltz in, and I was like, I was on standby for the next flight, but got in there. So it was awesome. It was good.
Yeah. So my story is we got, obviously the shuttle driver's late. We get over there, and I had been bumped up to first class all the way home, and that usually doesn't happen for me.
Is this relevant to the story?
No, it is. It is.
Okay.
Because it usually doesn't happen to me coming out of Atlanta. There's so many people with much higher statuses than I have on Delta that usually it's like, all right, you big chump, get in the back of the plane and be quiet. And so I was surprised when in the middle of the week when we were doing the ride, I had been upgraded to first class. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. I came across my bike.
And I heard that every single day. Oh, hey, did I happen to mention I'm first class?
Yeah. I did not.
Yes, you did. I heard about it so much.
Bull, you liar. So anyways, shuttle driver's late. You and I are definitely in panic mode. The flight crew actually said, oh, don't worry, guys. The Augusta airport's dead. You'll be fine. Don't worry about a thing. Well, the flight crew got out on that flight, but you and I obviously didn't. And so we got on the next flight. And so when I got there, I said, she said, oh, we can't get you. You're 5 minutes late or something. And I'm like, so frustrated at this shuttle driver. So anyways, I get bumped up first class all the way home, even on the next flight. And you're in the airport.
Not relevant to the story. But
just listen. You're in the airport and you're looking at like renting a car. The rental car place is open. And I'm feeling pretty low because I'm like, oh man, everything on this trip has just gone wonderful. No mechanicals, no flats, no issues, no concerns. We had a time of our life. We met all kinds of people. And I'm thinking, oh man, he's going to spend his anniversary in a damn airport all day long. And so then when you came onto the plane, I was like, hey, I gave you a big thumbs up, like, hey, you made it.
Well, then first class.
Yeah, as you passed me. And so anyways, you're on. And then I felt bad because we're on the same plane, but I had 21 minutes to make it to my next flight. And so I tried calling you to be like, hey, I got to go. I don't have a choice. And I figured you would realize it, but then okay. So then you call me back. I can't find my phone. My watch is going off, but I can't hear my phone because I had put it on airplane mode, but my watch was ringing. So I obviously I was so frustrated in the morning. I'm talking to you like Michael Knight, like from Knight Rider in the middle of the airport. I'm like, I got to go to my next flight.
Pulling the Dick Tracy on us. Yes. Yeah.
So then I finally made it to the flight, which was crazy because of course I had to take the plane train, go to the other one. And then, of course, no problem, made it home and everything. But I tell you what, weather was beautiful on the ride.
Yes.
We got to see all of our friends, 25 people on our team.
Awesome.
And that was just awesome. I wish we could have, got one photo of the whole team. But we ended up getting a lot of different single pictures of some people that we missed. I think the one picture's got like 15 people. And
it's just hard to coordinate. It's hard to coordinate because on this ride, you had some people camping indoors, you had some people camping outdoors on their own, and you had people doing the Padres tent service. So, and everything was spread out a lot. So it was hard to like coordinate. In a lot of towns, we didn't have like cell service, so we couldn't just like, hey guys, this is what we're doing. So yeah.
It was definitely a good time. And we got to see Armando, and we've talked about him on the show before, and so we got to spend time with him, and all of I mean, I can't name everybody, but just all of our team was just awesome. And then Brazelton with the layover stop. So if you are listening to this and do not know what Bragg is Bicycle Ride Across Georgia. I think this was like the 43rd year. Someone don't kill me. I hope that's the right answer. But what they do is they have a layover day. So if you've done bike packing or week-long bike rides before, Bragg is unique where it has a layover day. And this year it was in Brazelton. And I thought Brazelton knocked it out of the park. I just thought they did a wonderful job of offering things. The brewery was right there. And of course, we did the chocolate and wine walk, which I was kind of hesitant. I'm not a big wine guy, but I had a good time.
Wine.
There was no cheese. There was chocolate. I thought cheese went with wine. You wine people. No, just kidding. And then at the end of the week, we got something special.
Yes, we did. Let me set the stage.
All right, please do.
We are in the town of, help me out.
Thompson, I think.
Thompson. We got in a little later that afternoon. I mean, we did, legitimately, we helped some, young ladies change their tires and, all that kind of stuff. So we got in a little later than normal, but I am sleeping the only place I could find to sleep indoors is literally I have half of my sleeping thing under a water fountain.
What would be the problem with that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, when that guy at 4:00 in the morning decides he wants a drink, stumbles over me, and then is like slurping water, and I'm getting a shower. But yeah, we're there, not real happy with the situation that we had. We were going to make the best of it. And then who shows up?
Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, the executive director, Franklin Johnson.
Yes, absolutely. Basically, he had one of his snooze boxes that the people had to leave early. They'd planned on leaving early, and it was available. And he came over and said, hey, you guys have talked about this on your show. How would you like to experience it? And so basically it was like, snooze box under a water fountain. Not a lot of thinking for me. So we packed up our bedrolls and moved over to snooze box number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, snooze box number 1.
That's right.
It's like Mambo number 5, except
Exactly.
except it had air conditioner and electricity and a full-size twin mattress.
And yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, and we'll talk about more about that here in a few minutes. But the ride was great. We met tons of new people, ran into a lot of people that we had met previously, either at the spring tune-up or last year. I'm just going to give a couple shout outs to a few people who kind of made my list that I remember right off the bat. There was Stu, Bailey, Steven, Virginia, Vic, and Mike. They're always a lot of fun. Mandy, Brian, Savannah, Tall Guy, and Jason. Those are a few of the names that I remember right off there. And then of course our team, we had a lot of people, Ed and Anita and Steven and those guys. So.
On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, it was just it was an awesome time. I mean, I hate to be repetitive, but yeah, there's so many people that we got to enjoy and talk to, and they got to know who we are and what we are and what the heck Cycling Men of Leisure actually is. And we also had a showing for the first time of our ladies logo out on the streets of actually the roads of Georgia, which was the Cycling Women of Leisure. So, and both of those ladies, Mandy and Anita, they were so proud, and I loved it. That just made me so happy that they were out there and, showing the lady love. So.
Yeah, it was a good time. It surprised me because we ran into a lot of people that came into us and they were like, "Are you the guys doing the podcast?" And I would kind of hesitate. I'd like, "Well,
do you like it, or do you don't like
it, or do you not like it? Which one of those two guys do you like better? Because I'm him." So that was kind of neat. A lot of people came up to us, recognized us, wanted to talk to us about the podcast. We had several people who were really unhappy that they weren't able to join the team, that they had, missed out on that opportunity, which was cool. But we just met so many really, really, really good people. Went out to dinner with different people almost every single night. Some new, some old. So it was a great experience. The weather rained a couple of days, but it was always a night. So, I mean, there might be a little moisture on the road in the morning, but we didn't have to go through any rain. Winds were not that bad. The elevation.
Whew, I was letting you finish, but I'm going to tell you something. I was telling some friends, I've told some family, and I'll say it here on this show. First day coming out of Clayton, probably the hardest cycling day for me that I've ever had. We had two choices. You could go the shorter route, which was 38 miles, but we had heard that there were these awful, 16% peaks, or you could choose the 58-mile route, which supposedly had less elevation. I won't be able to speak on the 38 route because you and I chose the 58. And let me tell you, 5,100 feet of climb, somewhere in there. Let me repeat that. 5,100 feet of climb. And in Michigan, we have hills, don't get me wrong, but we don't have mountains like that. So it was definitely beautiful. Like you had mentioned that, it rained at night. That was the first night that it rained. We were actually in that pavilion and it rained. And then in the morning, some of the roads were wet and, you had to be a little bit careful, but those hairpin turns, the lakes, absolutely beautiful. Beautiful riding. And then, of course, some of those hills, whoa, baby. I mean, those were hills that just didn't stop. And so
literally they didn't stop. Like one of them was like over 1.5 miles of just climb.
Yep.
And hey, I'm a flatlander. I'm from Kansas. We've got the Flint Hills out here, but that was way out of my league.
Well, I expected you to come in an hour late down to the second, being from Kansas, but not just kidding. But, it really was. I mean, for me, I'm going to be 100% transparent here due to something personal in my life, and then sure. I wasn't able to get out, and then I chose to go on vacation. I didn't get out as much as I wanted to. And Franklin had said, hey, you guys been riding? Because he came up to us and said, hey, I appreciate you guys coming out to Big Bragg. He said, hey, you guys been riding? And we're like, a little bit. And he just had that grin on his face.
Yeah, he did.
Like, oh, you boys got no idea what you got going on tomorrow. And so when we finished, I mean, that was definitely a tough ride. But and then each day got a little bit, easier. And then, of course, once you're out on the bike for a while, then you get stronger and stronger. So it was great. I mean, I can't say anything but very proud to call that an accomplishment. I'm happy to share it with you, sir. So
absolutely, as always. And I think the total came out over 19,000 feet of total climb, which I've said this before, just to put it in perspective. Pikes Peak is 14,115 feet. So we essentially climbed up Pikes Peak and more.
And a mile more.
Just to put it in perspective. Yeah. So job well done to us, job well done to everybody. I mean, I know there was some hard hills and a lot of people were getting off and walking, whatever it takes for them to get up those hills, because those were essentially mountains as far as I'm concerned. But
hey, I'm not afraid to admit it right here. I hiked it on a couple of those hills. Didn't like it. I usually take this pride where I'm not going to walk that. But I mean, it was just at some point, like the one, forgive me the town, but that very last hill coming into town, I had overheard many people say that they had to walk it up that. I mean, that was like
it was just a short little hill. It was in town, but I don't know what the grade was, 15, 16, I don't know, percent. It was.
I think it depends on what computer you rode with, what it said. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was definitely that last little welcome. So, but anyways, I mean that's why we do it, right? I mean, so I'm happy to have done it, and I think that as usual, I think for me there was no issues and concerns. I thought everything was wonderfully done.
I had no safety concerns, and you and I have talked about safety on other rides before when we felt that their safety wasn't there. Definitely safety. I had a good time. I think everybody had a good time. Some of those days were just beautiful, going around the lakes and that type of thing. So definitely a good time.
Did you get a pimento cheese sandwich or a pickle or?
I got one pimento and cheese sandwich. Yes. Had quite a bit of peanut butter, probably a little more peanut butter than I really needed, but that's okay. That's what it's all about.
That's right. Well,
the other thing I will say is we did have another fun thing occur. Cycling Men of Leisure got mentioned on the local radio station there in Gainesville.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. So we just came in. You and I had a phone call to make, and then we met back up after our respective showers. And then Franklin said, "You guys don't answer your phone." I'm like, "Don't answer my phone. I was just in your shower truck. What do you mean I don't answer the phone?" He's like, "Hey, listen, we're gonna do a live radio spot, and I'd really be honored if you guys would join us." And we're like, Okay, we're talking on the microphone all the time. We're good. And sure enough, we climbed up in his snooze box, and the DJ called and started asking him some questions. Franklin, him being Franklin, and said, how's it going out there? And he said, well, I'm the director. I have no idea, but I do have two guys riding the route, and they're with us today. And so I actually recorded that and I sent it to my family. So that was neat to be on the radio there.
And they mentioned Cycling Men of Leisure, and we each gave a brief synopsis of how we thought it was going. So that was a good time too. So overall, cool. Great ride. We ended up with, like we said, 25 members of the team. Those 25 members represented 8 different states.
That's awesome.
2 of those riders were women, so that was cool. So I don't know. We'll have to see if we decide to do Georgia again next year.
Hey, Adam, I need a Coke.
Sounds good. We'll be back after a quick break. Well, if we do, I guarantee you we can get a large team again, because many people came up to me. I mean, even if 10% of the people who came and said, hey, I'd like to be on your team next year, signed up, I think we would do very well and have a nice showing. So
we could just have this massive dominating team there. That would be cool. So
that would be cool.
Well, we'll see. We got all winter, at least first part of winter to figure it out. We're looking at rides, and we'll see if Georgia fits in there or not. So we'll see.
Sounds good. You mentioned about revisiting a show.
Yes. And that's kind of why I cut you off. Well, you were talking about the SnoozeBox. Back in April, we did a show right after, I believe it was spring tune-up for Bragg. And we talked about SnoozeBox. Franklin Johnson had created a SnoozeBox concept for his rides, and I know he's taken it. I think this last week he was in Ohio at the Ohio ride. He's taken it to several other places, definitely taking it to Iowa. And at that time, we talked to him a little bit about the SnoozeBox, what it was all about, that type of thing. Well, since that time, we spent a little bit of time with the guys who were in SnoozeBox number 1, chatted with them a little bit about their experiences before, they had to go on their way. And they had nothing negative to say about it. They loved the concept and all of that. So I thought we would take a minute or two and kind of just talk about what we found out about the SnoozeBox since we had that original conversation.
That sounds good. And so I had a chance on the very last day to speak to Ryan. Ryan, I believe, was in SnoozeBox 3 for Big Bragg, and he had done it for Bragg Light the last 3 days. And I just said, hey, listen, we're going to talk about it on the show. Can you give me an idea of how you felt? And he said, and by the way, he gave me permission to talk about this. So he said, I'm a guy who uses a CPAP. And having known electricity was a huge plus. Not having to move his, as he said, crap every day was a huge plus. And then the air conditioning on some of those nights, being a CPAP user, was more comfortable. So he was very complimentary to everything that the SnoozeBox offered from him. We had talked to those 3 guys. I wish I would have got their names, but we were such in a hustle and bustle and moving everything, that they had said that while it's advertised for 5 people, that they felt that 3 cycling friends or 3, ladies together or whatever would be the perfect. How did you feel about that?
I think looking in it is one thing, but actually spending time in it is another. And I think, it was just you and I that night, plenty of room. I think 3 people, it would be fantastic for. You can get up to 5 people in there, but honestly, I'm thinking 5 people would be a little cramped. I think it'd be a little tight. You could certainly make it work. And if you're only going in there to sleep, then it would probably be great, but it would be a little tight with 5 people in there. Now, since I got in there, I kind of, have a better feel for it. There's 2 bunk beds on one side, and at the end of each bunk bed, there is a good sized spot to put your gear or your luggage and that kind of stuff. So each each one of those has it. And then it has a couch, which folds out for 2 people. And there's also a section on the side of the couch where you'd be able to stow gear. So the gear you can pretty much get out of the way, has air conditioning. Each one of the bunk areas has a fan, and each one of the bunk areas has an individual light. So you could, shut the main light off and still read and not bother everybody else. But for myself, 5 people in there. Yeah, I think that would be a little bit tight for me.
I do too. And I was thinking about, you and I had the perfect condition. It wasn't raining. We needed the air conditioner. We were able to charge all of our stuff, which was great because we were traveling the next day. Everything was wonderful. Now flip-flop that. I'm thinking about some of the rides that we've been on where it's just pouring. I mean, just coming down cats and dogs. If you had 5 people in there, it'd get a little tight inside that little area. Now, of course, it doesn't mean you have to stay in there. You could have gone under a pavilion or gone under the big brag tent or whatever. But if you were trying to get out for some shelter, it would get tight with 5 people. I was telling Lauren on my way home, she had said, "Oh, you guys got to stay in the SnoozeBox." And she said, "That's so cool." And I said, "Yeah, it really was cool, And she had said, asking me some costs and everything. And I said, "Well, we didn't pay, but if we would have paid, this is what it would have been." And we were looking at it. I mean, it's comparative. I mean, think of what we paid for our charter for Ragbri. I mean, it's definitely, he's on the market for the price. Definitely well worth your money. I mean, air conditioning, electricity, you're not moving anything. You just get your bike. They, all kinds of good stuff. For me, the only thing I would say is, while advertised for 5, maybe a family of 5 with younger kids, maybe something like that. But I would think like 4 would be like 4 good cycling friends would be able to do that. 3 would be an ideal for me. So
yeah, I totally agree. But it was a great experience. I'm glad we got to experience it and really know what that's about. I don't think personally, and I think you probably agree with me, for the style that we have, and we like to be out there talking with people, to me, that kind of builds a barrier between that. But although it certainly beats sleeping under a water fountain. So
I could understand why you would say that. And I think that brings another point. I mean, with the SnoozeBox, you have a guaranteed spot.
Yep.
There's a comfort level there where you don't have to worry about it, where, you and I are not the fastest riders. I mean, I'm not slow when I'm going downhill, but on a serious note, I mean, there are many people who are a lot faster than us. They come in and then they would get their spot, and you and I had indoor camping. And so they would get their spot and they would spread out a little bit. And I understand that they're getting their area. And then you and I were kind of in trouble. And so that night was just like the heavenly gates opened up. Like, how would you like the SnoozeBox? I'm like, well, don't twist. So.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. So, but no, it was definitely a good time. Glad we got to experience it. And, we're giving you an honest, review from our sides. We're not paid by SnoozeBox or anything. So, I mean, I think that people at this point who have listened to us really understand that we're going to give you the honest scoop of what we feel. And we're not just going to, say a bunch of nice things out there trying to get something out of it or whatever. So.
No, and I'm glad that you said that, because I think that's what makes what you and I are doing here with the show and everything. I mean, obviously, we've made $0.0 on the show. As a matter of fact, we've actually, have all kinds of startup costs and everything. But I think to be fair to the subscribers or listeners, to give an honest opinion. I mean, so I think that's really important. I think to stay loyal to what you and I both believe in.
And that was another question we got a lot of out on the road. It's like, so how much money have you guys made from this? We've made $0. We've not monetized this. We haven't done really anything to, work on making money off of this. And I think a lot of people thought that we were somehow, making money, but we're not. We're just, 2 guys who like to chat about some of our adventures and people we meet and things that we do. And that's what we're doing. So let's talk about Bike Ride Across Kansas.
You know, that's one of the ones that is on my list of wanting to do. I mean, the year that you not this year, but I think last year it ended in your hometown. Is that correct?
Last year it did end in yes, in my hometown. It has several times, but yep. And
I
this year it
Go ahead,
ended
sir.
about 40 miles down the road from me.
Okay. All right. So, did you get to see any of them or not this time?
I did not get to see any of them. My wife works about 45 minutes away in a small town at the hospital there. And it was an overnight town before they ended. So she, got to see, the town putting bicycles out everywhere and kind of getting into the whole bike ride across Kansas fever. So that was kind of cool for her to see that. But to give you a little bit of information around it, this is the 49th year. So it's been around almost 50 years. It was 539 miles this year.
Wow.
Went from Elkhart, Kansas, which is down in the southwest part of Kansas, all the way through Pleasanton, Kansas, which sits about, 6 miles from the Missouri border. So pretty much took a southern route, hit towns like Spearville, Stafford, Newton, Eureka, Chanute, Garnett. So I haven't talked to anybody that did it this year. I would love to hear if anybody listening participated in this year's bike ride across Kansas. I would love it for them to reach out, hit us on Facebook, something like that. Let us know, because we would like to hear kind of how that ride went, kind of maybe some of the highlights and that type of thing. I know I did talk with people last year because it did end here, and nobody had anything bad to say. They all had a really good time. It is a longer ride. I mean, they every year go from pretty much border to border. So
Is it 7 days?
yes, 7. Actually, I think they call it 8 days,
Mm.
if I remember correctly. But,
And
yeah,
and so each year the route changes a little bit.
each year the route changes. It's similar to Iowa. You got kind of the northern tier, you've got the middle section, and then you got the southern tier. It makes it difficult, especially like in the northern tier, because if you look at the northern part of Kansas, where it ends, where the Missouri border is, you pretty much hit Kansas City metro area.
Okay.
So, it's hard to, kind of finagle it there with, and keep them out of like the major city. But it does fluctuate. I know I went to high school out in the middle of Kansas. I know a few years ago it went through there. It was one of the stopping places. So, yep, every year it's a little bit different. So I think that's already on our list. I was going to say, let's put that on the list, but I think it's actually on that list of rides that we're looking at. I've done it before. A lot of fun.
Even though I'll be an hour late every day.
Well, I kind of expect that, but that's okay. And the good news is you will not have 19,000 feet of climb.
Hey, Michael, I need a coffee.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message.
I'm in. No. But then again, I won't be able to say that I climbed 19,000 feet, except I'm going to get to, I think, pretty soon in Iowa. So
yeah, but oh well, hey, it's all in good fun.
you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt, but when you said in Kansas is like Iowa, and I was going to be like, oh, it's flat, but so
The interstate's pretty flat, as everybody seems to judge the entire state based upon the interstate if they've never really been off the road. Well, it's flat. Well, not really, but that's okay.
So we do have the interview with Franklin. As you mentioned, we were able to sit down with them.
I'm sorry, I just blared ahead and went on to the next topic, didn't I?
Oh, that's okay. But what I'm going to do is we'll play that here in just a little bit, but we'll save that for the end of the show. And my curiosity is how do you feel about our next adventure coming up?
Next adventure would be Iowa. 50th anniversary. We've got everything planned. We've got our charters, so we're ready to go. It should be interesting.
Have you gone to your local Army Navy surplus store and got MREs just in case we can't eat?
Yes, meals ready to eat. Have a few of those just in case the vendors in the local places completely run out of food, which that is actually a concern by a lot of cyclists out there. And me reading posts and stuff, it's like, are there going to be plenty of places to eat and stuff? That's why I said it would be interesting. It'll be an experience. It'll be an adventure with as many people as they're saying potentially could be out there. There's going to be some logistical things that I think that they've never had to deal with before, but we're going to go. We're going to take it in stride. Should be a lot of fun.
And just to be clear, we are speaking about RAGBRAI, which is the Register's annual Great Bike Ride across Iowa. We assume most of you who are listening to this probably knew that, but if not, just wanted to be clear. This is the 50th anniversary. Due to COVID, they skipped a year, as everybody skipped a year almost on everything. And so this is the actual ride, the 50th anniversary. The ride is 500 miles, and they're going through 50 towns. But I wanted to ask you if you saw the news article. I did send it to you, to be honest. I know you've been kind of busy with work and everything, but did you see the big change from Ames to Des Moines?
I did. Can I step back for a minute, though?
Yeah.
You said everybody skipped a year. Does that mean I can take a year off my age?
Sure. I mean, you do whatever you want. I mean, everyone else lies about their age. So
you're just saying everybody skipped a year, so we could just skip that year. And that's awesome. I love it. No, in reality, I did read the article. They are not going for the world's record. I believe that's what you're speaking of, between Des Moines and Ames.
Yeah, they just said it's just Guinness's Great Book of World Records is making it impossible. So I don't know. I've never tried to break a world record. I mean, I don't think anything I do in my life is Guinness's Great Book of World Records worthy. No, I don't think it is. But
I think there's another component to that too that I kind of read in the article, not necessarily spelled out. But I think there's a big concern that a lot of people saw that. I mean, there was throwing out numbers online, not officially, but just online. People were throwing out numbers like 100,000 to break the record and things like that. And I think a lot of people were looking for alternative routes. And so just my personal opinion, I think that Matt and the rest of the crew is probably looking at, this is just going to force a lot of riders to potentially take alternative, non-safe, non-sagged, non-supported routes to get around that. And I think they probably saw that as a perhaps a safety issue.
And I try really hard not to get tied up in social media, big man on campus social media fight or whatever. There was a post that somebody had posted and had tagged us in and said, well, we're going to just take this route and do this way. And all I replied with was, I don't think that's the safety. I think that's the safest way to do that. I think you should go the supported sag stop. I mean, the Iowa State Patrol is helping out. They stop traffic, and I just didn't think that was a safety concern. And then the gentleman decided that he wanted to voice his opinion in his way, which I understand. All I was fighting for was safety, because I just want to get home to my family. I want you to get home to your family. I want anyone that, everybody, I'd love everyone to get home safely, And
Absolutely.
so when he fired back at me, I just deleted the post. I just thought, okay, buddy, I'm not gonna get into a match with you on what my belief is safety and having a good time. I mean, the idea I thought was to go out and ride your bike and have a good time. So you're probably right. I think that you're right on the track where they probably said, we'll cancel the world record. Maybe that'll get people to stay on the regular route and have a better chance of safety. So,
yeah. So, all right. Well, did you want to hit up the interview or brief interview that we had with Franklin?
Yeah, I'll
hear
drop
kind of
that
his synopsis of what the ride was like.
Yeah, I'll drop that here at the end, and then you'll close out the show like we normally do. But Before I drop that in here, was there anything else that you would add, sir?
There's two things that I would add. First off, we had a really exciting night on Thursday of Bragg. We actually provided some of our own, necessarily our own, but some Kansas City style bourbon to a great many people that were gathered there with us. And those bottles were from J. Rieger's, which is a regional distillery here in Kansas City. And we actually had our own labels put on them. And it said, bottled for cycling men of leisure Bragg 2023. So that was a really good time. Everybody got a kick out of that. And so it was just something I wanted to mention because I know a lot of people really, really enjoyed that. So
that was really
cool.
neat. That was really neat. Appreciate you setting that up.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. And I think the only other thing I would have to say is if there's anybody out there in the cycling leisure community who, wants us to address anything or has questions about us, I certainly ask them to feel free to reach out to us on Facebook and chat us up. We're happy to talk about different subjects, certainly happy to bring on new ideas that we haven't talked about. So I'd ask them to do that. Other than that, I don't have anything to say other than
it's
what
always
is today.
It's a great day for a bike ride.
That's right.
Okay, well, here we are, Big Bragg 2023.
Absolutely.
Well, where else would we want to be?
I can't think of any place.
We are here with Franklin Johnson. From a rider's perspective, let me tell you, everything's been excellent. I couldn't ask for better. We chose your indoor camping option, and everything's worked out. And then we know you have outdoor camping. You've got here we're sitting currently inside your SnoozeBox,
Which is fantastic, by the way.
It is.
Yes. I mean, air conditioning, bunk beds. This is the way to go.
Fans, charging,
yes.
Not packing and repacking your crap
Absolutely.
every night. I feel like all I've done this week is pack, repack, pack, repack. What about from the director's point of view? How do you think things are going?
Excellent. Better than I could have expected. I try and focus on continuous improvement. My wife is big into lean as a management style, so she's harps on me all the time about getting a little bit better every year. And I think over the past 8 years I've been at the helm, we've tried to get a little bit better every year, so it's finally starting to go pretty smooth.
Awesome.
Good.
When I see you, you're obviously putting out fires, just like I do at work. Unfortunately, I do work still, but everything pretty much in the realm of what you expected to be doing. I mean, nothing
Absolutely.
crazy.
There's you're always going to get a million questions, right? Which is what we're here to do. We're here to serve, and we're here to answer those questions. We have all the answers, and we try and disseminate as best we can. So not too many huge fires. First day, we got a lot of rain at night. Didn't rain on the route.
Right.
But then there was a lot of ups and downs, hairpin turns, which you're going to get. That's why you're doing that ride. It's so beautiful. It's in the mountains, it's in the lakes. But it makes for some dangerous conditions if you're riding on the paint. So had a few go down. Nothing too serious. Nobody still in the hospital, and nothing that's going to last forever. So, we're happy about that.
I love, by the way, those hairpin turns because we don't have any of those in Kansas. And so, boy, I was just like screaming down those things, just enjoying it. The first one, I do have to say, I took a little wide, and I was a little worried I was going to end up in the ditch, but it was awesome.
And I hit one a little too fast, and I hit the rear brake, and the rear brake locked up, and then I was like, oh! And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to slow down on these things. So, but yeah, I don't have that.
The lakes are beautiful out there, too, so.
And you were kind of joking around, Michael. You said, where are all the lakes? And here we got some more lakes today.
Yeah, we got some more lakes today, so it was cool.
That was great. So my question is when I'm riding, by the way, I don't know how you plan the weather. Good job, because you do better than any other weather.
A+ on the weather.
Exactly, because there's been no rain during the day. Route's been awesome. I'm looking at the back of license plates, and I see there's a lot of states. Do you have any idea how many states that you are representing?
Yeah, I think we just counted. We're at 42 states represented, which is awesome, and quite a few countries. So.
And I heard that today at one of the rest stops. I heard that you had someone. Is it Paris?
Paris, France. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, from a rider's perspective, I just want you to know that love the 7:00 kickoff every morning where you have the mass start. We actually, truth be told, we kind of recorded some of that. We're going to kind of pipe that in the back for our show next time. So
awesome.
And I think it also gives a target of when to be out there, when to be on the route. Your SAG, we've kind of made friends with your SAG drivers.
Yes, we have.
Thankfully, we haven't needed SAG.
Wait. Okay, that's what my question is. Like, you made friends with him. Did you call the SAG?
No, we didn't have to call the SAG. We were out. One of your SAG drivers' wife is out there riding.
Right.
And I don't remember what his name was, but
Jeffrey Woods. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And we had many conversations with his wife and stuff, and so we were able to meet him and saw him several times. Yeah, but we did not need him.
No,
or call him.
Thankfully. Well, I mean, thankfully, we have no mechanicals, no flats yet. I probably just
so far.
I was going to say,
knock on wood.
I probably just screwed myself.
Yeah, one more day still. One more day.
I have a big question.
Yeah,
this is a very serious question. Do you have any idea how much peanut butter you go through?
Oof, cases and cases and cases. I know we usually go through about 80 loaves of bread per rest stop per day.
Per rest stop per
day. Yeah. So 3, 4, today 5 rest stops. You're going through quite a few loaves of bread.
I bet.
Yeah.
Because I asked him at the beginning. It's like, I wonder how much peanut butter they go through, because every rest stop you've got peanut butter, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And there's somebody making peanut butter sandwiches. So.
And we've tried so many different things. We used to you get the pre-made peanut butter and jelly. That gets expensive really fast. Then you try and do peanut butter jelly spread one on one on the other. Then you mix the peanut butter and jelly together in the bowl, put it on there, make it into a taco. That seems to be the fastest.
You need the peanut butter gun.
Well, I was going to say, I don't want, on another ride that we did that we normally will never talk about, but that's all we're going to say. It was not a ride that we actually would ever promote, by the way. It was a safety concern. They had, just to be clear,
safety.
The ride that we did, that we don't speak about, the guy put us on a shoulder that was no more than 6 inches, and it wasn't even paved the whole way. And there were semis rolling by for a very, very long time.
And there was no signage to let cars know that we were on that road, that there'd be cyclists, so it was very unsafe. But
what
they
he did
had
have
a peanut butter gun,
okay,
like a cocking gun that had this thing in it, and you could just like...
Reminds me of my day of working at Taco Bell when they had the sour cream.
Don't ruin it for me. Don't ruin Taco Bell for me. Come on.
But no, that is something. But one thing I'm curious about as a rider, you seem to have a lot of people who help you out on these rides. Like, we keep seeing the same people at the SAGs. I mean, at the rest stops. Are these people that you bring on as I mean, are they willing to help you as volunteer, or do they? Are you paying them? I'm sorry, I'm just curious. That's something I'm.
Yeah, so it's a mix. It's a mix. There are some jobs that you're not going to get volunteers for, like unloading and loading 2,000 bags every day is not a job people volunteer for.
Pick me, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a mix of volunteers and paid folks to make the route work, and then there's also some mandated stuff and stuff we feel for a safety concern, like police officers. So we spend quite a bit on police officers to have officers out on the route at dangerous intersections and just out there to warn. And then we also have some volunteer police officers that come out. One of them staying in the SnoozeBox here with us. So he comes out, brings his car, Macon County Sheriff's Department, Bibb County Sheriff's Department, and they're in Macon, Steve Gatlin. His chief lets him come because they want to support the ride.
That's awesome. Cool.
And they've got several riders from their community that come do it, so he lets them come and keep them safe. And then Richard Matthews and John Athens, our paramedic and lead SAG guys, are great volunteers that come year after year, and wouldn't be able to do this without them, honestly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tomorrow we're coming into Athens, and if you're listening to the show, you'll probably hear it.
Augusta.
Sorry.
We passed Athens already.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't want to go back. So tomorrow when we come to Augusta, you have a party. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we have an end of the road party at the end, which we have great finish line photo opportunity. We're going to actually ride the last 13 miles on the North Augusta Greenway. So we're actually crossing in over Strong Thurmond Lake into South Carolina.
That's cool.
Yeah, once we do that, we got an awesome rest stop at a blueberry farm, so there'll be some fresh produce there. And then from there, we're going to hop on this path, and the last 13 miles is going to be all on this North Augusta Greenway, which is a beautiful path. No cars, all just bikes and pedestrians. and then we'll cross back into Georgia, right in the city of Augusta, and we'll be there. We'll give out medals for our older and younger participants. We'll have a meal. We've got an awesome band down there playing for us, and get everybody, fed and libationed up before they hit the road home.
Well, we are excited about that.
This will be cool.
Yeah, because last year we met a wonderful man who unhitched his RV, his fifth wheel RV, and said, "You guys are cool. I'll help you get to your hotel." We had to break down our bikes and fly home, and we got to see him this year. He came out me yesterday. Unfortunately, they're already on their way to Augusta. He couldn't come tonight, but he said, "So you obviously made it home." I said, "Not only did I make it home, I made it back." So, but he was awesome. But last year we couldn't enjoy those things because we had to get our stuff packed. We had a flight out. But this time we have a flight on Sunday, so we can actually enjoy the celebration. So,
And you know what's cool about this? This will be a first for you and I, because we have never cycled in South Carolina.
we have not. Well,
So-
that'll be
Add a new state to our map.
That's right.
You'll get 20 plus miles tomorrow in South Carolina.
Sweet.
See, South Carolina on the Strava heat map. Here we
Nice.
come. So, well, Franklin, we appreciate you sitting down with us. We appreciate everything that you've done for us, and definitely helped. You've helped our show. No, we've told you before we consider you a friend of the show and a friend, absolutely. So I actually am excited because I know that you're taking a team to Ragbri.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you in 6 weeks.
I was going to say I will be stalking where your camp is every night. I would like to come say hi, and a lot of people that you are coming with, we were hanging out with last night, and it told us to come stop by. So I would love to come see you there as well.
For sure, we'll have a lot of the same infrastructure we have here. We'll have our iconic big red tent. Obviously, that's how everyone finds us, and then we'll have the SnoozeBox there, and of course the Bragg bus. And we'll have about 30 folks in tents, and then another probably 20 or so in the SnoozeBox. So we're looking forward to it.
It's going to be.
We'll definitely look you up.
I was going to say Ragbri 50. It's going to be. I hope it's fun. We're a little bit nervous with the influx of popularity this year, so
it's going to be an adventure.
It sure is.
No expectations, and
there's no doubt about that.
Just go with it. So
I'm going to pack enough stuff on the bus to last the week. So if anything goes awry, we'll be fine.
I think that's
you
a
got
wise
supplies.
choice.
You can.
Well, I told him. Last thing I'll say is I said, every time we pass a Casey's, every time we pass anything, we better go in and get something because I just think like the restaurants in town normally wait 5-10 minutes every night. I think you're gonna wait a lot longer. So.
They have to bring in more than they normally do. I mean, there's just no other way to do it.
It has to.
Yeah, and it'll be a gold mine for a lot of those towns,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard stories of bars in Ragbri making more on one day than they do in the whole year typically. So
That does not surprise me at all.
Not at all.
Well, cool. Well, Franklin, we really appreciate everything. Thank you so
we do.
much.
Yeah.
Yes. And we appreciate you being able to take some time. We know you're busy. You're sitting here taking some time from us. So
no, y'all are great riders, and we're very happy to have you here. And I love the show. It's like I said, it's very interesting for me to hear an in-depth review of the other side. Because I'm always here on the other side of the fence. So it's great to hear the riders.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man.
all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.